Hey, welcome back to our 2020 COVID Fixer-Upper.
To quickly recap, we bought this property in late 2019 and found ourselves in the midst of a major renovation in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So we put this mini-series together, our 2020 COVID Fixer-Upper, to share with you the journey that we went on to try and turn this place around. And today, on episode 2, which we're calling Everything and the Kitchen Sink, we're going to share with you the kitchen renovation job.
That's right.
So, as Leena liked to say, and as we truly believe, the kitchen is the heart and soul of a building. Well, or a home, I should say.
Yeah.
Well,
That's where the entire family gathers, everyone's around all the time.
Well, one of the first things we realized right away when we came into this property is that this place needed a heart transplant.
That's right. Some major updating over here.
So one thing I can never forget is the state of that sink. The sink was clogged, clearly. There was a tub sitting in it, this small little tub, and it was practically overflowing with this black, murky water. God knows what was in it. And then the faucet was just doing the dripping, right? The drip, drip, drip. I don't know, for whatever reason, I still think back to that, and it just sort of haunts me at night at times, I feel.
And there was grease spots all over the cabinets. The bottom cabinets were in terrible condition. Oh my God. And then the dishwasher was disgusting. I could not even imagine, anyone standing in that kitchen and cooking at that range. It was horrible. Ugh, it was so bad.
True story. I was there.
So naturally, we threw away the old dishwasher and the range. And by the way, you do remember, right? What happened with the dishwasher when you wanted to pull it out?
Is this one of those I told you so moments?
Yes, remember when you were pulling it out, I was like, Khalid, are you being careful? Khalid, are you looking?
Yeah, so, there's no forgetting what happened then.
Yes.
So I thought, this old dishwasher, I could just pull it out so that we could then disconnect it. Well, it just so happens that whoever the genius was that installed that dishwasher hard piped it in, the water, directly into the dishwasher. Oh. So there I am, yanking at it, and Leena's like, hey,
Khalid, are you sure it has that collapsible long pipe? Yeah. Are you sure that's why it's not coming out? And it's like, how is that even possible? It would be hard.
I have more faith in my fellow humanity. But, next thing you hear that little pop sound.
Oh my God.
And there's just water everywhere.
Everywhere. And we didn't even know where the water shut off was.
We had no idea where the turn off was. So, there's Leena scrambling to call the water company to see if they can send somebody out. And,
water just
gushing everywhere. Yeah. And, I can never forget what I had to go through to actually turn that water off, because we hadn't really gotten into the inside of the cabinets under the kitchen sink yet, because there was no way with all the disgusting stuff that was there.
Oh my God.
But at that moment, it was either get flooded or get in there.
Yeah, I hope you took a Clorox sort of bath after that.
Yeah, no, I got in there and under the cabinet, under the sink cabinet, and turned off all of the different valves I could find. And thank God, one of them turned off the dishwasher, the water flowing from that pipe.
Yeah.
I think I'm scarred for life.
We all are, honestly.
So, in addition to resolving that dishwasher problem, I did manage to drain the sink, that dirty black water. Then we took out the sink. I demoed the countertop, and this is where I would say my animal instinct, my manly instinct was kicking in. I said, hey, wow, I finally get to demolish something, break it. And so I did enjoy that aspect of this project. Took out the countertop, took out the cabinets, the bottom cabinets, which were in pretty terrible condition. Even though our contractor was telling us, hey, why don't you just hold on to them, just refinish them. We said, no, we were not happy with that.
We were not comfortable at all.
Yeah. We did decide to keep the wall cabinets, though they were fine, they were great. But we got rid of the bottom cabinets, and once I got all that stuff out of the way, I started to notice that the wall behind where the cabinets were, the bottom cabinets and the countertop, was looking a little patchy. So I started peeling away at some of that drywall.
This was still pre-COVID times, and I left Khalid to do the demolition while I was attending a baby shower. And suddenly over there, I received a frantic phone call from Khalid.
Yeah, so as I was peeling away at that drywall, I noticed what looked to be pretty huge bugs crawling inside behind the wall. And at first I couldn't make sense of it. What the heck are these bugs? Well, as I looked closer, I realized that it's a bunch of bumblebees. These, big bees.
I for a moment I thought I hadn't heard right. I was like, what? Bees? Like you found bees behind the drywall?
True
oh
story.
My goodness.
So, long story short, at that point, it was a Sunday, didn't have much of a choice. My son got a hold of or found out about this company, the bee company in Philadelphia, I think it was called. We gave them a call to say, hey, what the heck do we do? And the guy said, hey, listen, I'm sorry, it's a Sunday, I can't come out, but if you're able to somehow get them out of there, you should take them at least 2 miles away so that they don't come back. I found this massive hive inside as well. So I somehow managed to roll that hive into a plastic garbage bag, and then I just grabbed that bag, closed it and shoved it into this empty bucket. It was like desperate times, desperate measures.
Yes.
I put everything inside that bucket, put a lid on it, and you could hear those bees were not happy. They wanted a piece of me, and I think they were just so shocked by this sudden light that I was incredibly lucky that they did not get a piece of me. So once we had them in the bucket, I just could not let them die. I mean, I guess we could have just left them out, and people would have told me, hey, why don't you just put them out with the trash? I could not. Guys, this is a public service message.
Yeah.
We need bees. Don't kill bees.
That's right.
Try to save bees. All that good stuff. So we got in the car, my kids and I. We drove to the nearest wilderness we could find, so a nearby park, and we let them out into the wild. And you can hear our daughter's commentary during that time.
Right now, our dad is releasing bees. It looks like they've come out. No, he's right now holding the hive in a bag. It's so cool. I hope he doesn't get stung. It's so scary. He's running. I think we see a bee right now. No, I think you missed it. Yeah, our dad's back.
Thank God I survived to tell the story.
We had to make the most of this small space, and so to truly make the kitchen the heart of the home, we had to redesign it. We redesigned the cabinets, added a few more cabinets, extended the countertop. We redesigned the whole top cabinets by adding open shelving. Took a trip to Home Depot and figured out what to do about the cabinets. Picked a gorgeous granite countertop from over there. It's called Biscotti. Actually, they advised us to go to the warehouse over there to pick out the slab of countertop.
Right, and we debated whether to go with a granite countertop or not, right? There are cheaper options available, but one of the upsides of having a smaller kitchen, relatively speaking, is that there isn't a lot of counter that you have to buy, right? Or a lot of countertop. So we said, hey, you know what? Let's get something nice, right? And so as Leena mentioned, we got this countertop that we picked out at Home Depot. And it was a really cool experience to actually go to their warehouse, the countertop supplier's warehouse, and they had all of these slabs just sitting there. So this was prior to them cutting out the countertop. You can actually go and pick out that specific slab. believe it or not, there is value
There
in
is
doing
value,
that.
yes.
We saw other variations of the countertop that we had picked that had maybe a vein of yellow, or more yellow than what we wanted, or more grains than what we wanted.
Yeah, we were going for more cool toned in the countertop, and there was a lot more yellow or orange running through it. So we decided that we didn't want that. We wanted a slab that had more gray.
Yeah. So then we got to the rebuilding phase. I fixed up the drywall, handed over the cabinet job to Leena.
Yes, I'd never done painting the cabinets before, but it was actually very fun and interesting. I researched a lot of blog posts first to figure out what color I actually wanted the cabinets to be, because believe it or not, there are probably more than 100 shades of white. It was very difficult to realize, what color white, a shade of white would look in particular lighting, how it would look in daytime, how it would look in nighttime. So I had to figure that out, go get a few samples, and I finally decided on Polar Bear by Bear. Once the paint was decided, I started the process of painting the cabinets, which is a process in itself. So there were grease spots all over the cabinet, so I figured I needed a very strong heavy-duty grease remover. So crud cutter became my best friend. I sprayed crud cutter all over the cabinets, wiped them down, then I sanded the cabinets, primed the cabinets, and while I was priming the cabinets, that was a learning experience on how to actually paint the cabinets. You have to paint the cabinets a certain way because the droplets drip and then they sort of accumulate on the backside. So no matter where you start, you're definitely going to get some accumulation if you're not light-handed at the same time. So there were moments where I had to take a blade, scrape it all off and redo it. So it was a back-breaking process, but the end result turned out to be really good.
Yeah, no, that was a learning for me. I didn't fully appreciate how much goes into, what is seemingly a simple job of repainting the cabinets.
Repainting the cabinets, yes.
A lot is involved. So, and I think, they turned out great. The color that you chose and, the job that you did, the technique of actually painting them, I think they look great. And you did it by hand. That's the other thing, right? You looked at spray options as well.
Spray options as well, but then for this particular, with the wood, the type of wood the cabinets were, it was recommended to hand paint them so that you could get into all the ridges and the nooks and crannies, and I think it worked out really well.
So one of the other major components of rebuilding the kitchen was the backsplash.
That's right.
And so we chose this hexagonal mesh tile, like we did in the bathroom, the master bathroom, but white here, of course, not black. And just a pro tip, if this is going to be your first backsplashing job, probably not the best idea to go with a complex shape like this.
Yes.
Probably better to go with a rectangular shape because
go easy and go simple.
That's right. It turned out to be quite the task, cutting all the different pieces, with the different shapes and getting it right. It ended up taking me 2 days at least, I want to say, of keeping the rented tile saw that I got from Home Depot.
Yes.
So longer than I expected.
Yeah.
And it was, I will admit that there was a point that I did consider curling up into a ball and crying in a corner, because trying to get that mesh tile onto the wall with a thin set just oozing out everywhere, and trying to get it to line up correctly, and then cutting around the outlets. It was quite a pain.
Getting late at night, it was getting so late.
We had some late nights putting that in. But I have to say though, after it was all said and done, after all that pain that we went through, we were just so happy with the way it has turned out. It looks amazing, I think. And honestly, beyond, I think, what we expected even.
Yes, I honestly feel a backsplash could actually make or break a kitchen, could take it to another level. And that's what this backsplash did for the kitchen. It just made it feel more modern and updated. Once the cabinets were painted, we got the countertop delivered and we could finally see the finish line. We were sprinting our way to the finish line. We got the new range, new hood, the new drop-in sink, the new faucet, new hardware for the cabinets, and
new garbage disposal. That was an experience installing that. Because remember that clogged sink, we finally got around to clearing that out, and we installed these in-cabinet garbage bins, installed the soft close cabinet hinges.
Yeah.
And updated the under cabinet lighting, which I think looks marvelous. It really, brings out the countertop's beauty as well.
It does. Yeah, the open shelving.
Yeah, and then I custom made these open shelves because Leena really wanted something there, because otherwise it was just going to be this blank space in the backsplash. So we installed these open shelves where I got the lumber from Home Depot, cut it up, we stained it black to match the fixtures.
Yes.
Clear coated it. I mean, so really a multi-step process.
Exactly.
And then got them installed. Drilling through the tile was an interesting experience as well. Obviously, you can't just use a normal drill bit to do that, as I learned. But we got that done and installed the open shelves there, and I think they just look so good. They go really well with the rest of the kitchen.
Again, it looks very modern, very updated. That concludes our kitchen renovation. Let us know what you thought of our choices, if you liked it, our cabinets, the countertop and the fixtures, the open shelving that we put our heart and soul into.
And we've had several of you reach out to us and ask for more details about the work that we did on the bathroom last time. So yeah, please reach out. We love that.
Yes.
We're happy to offer any of our guidance based on our experience.
That's right.
And do subscribe to our YouTube channel and do like it as well.
Share it with someone who's
Share
also
it with
doing
your
a kitchen renovation to give them ideas.
That's right. And we'll see you next time.
Just wing it. That's
right.
how we're
Wing it.
going with this.
That's right. Are we doing? Is it recording?